favorite DFS plays at the following positions on tonight's 8-game slate. We obviously know this news can change, but as of right now, guard you would consider building around is who, Nick?
I'm going to go with Damian Lillard tonight. I know that game's got the highest total right now with LaMelo Ball questionable to play. Obviously, he's been out for a little while. He should be returning at some point during Charlotte's road trip. With this being the highest total and with LaMelo possibly coming back, I'm going to have to get a little piece of this one because a little piece of Lillard tonight because I know that this team has been struggling a ton. The Blazers are in a big skid. They've been disappointing all season, and I know Lillard when he came back the first 2 games did really well. The second game not so much in terms of fantasy output, but with Lillard, this is a guy who's going to get you out of that slump. He's the one that has to do it as much as Nurkic, needs to help to some extent. McCollum, not around right now. So Lillard's got to be the guy. So a little bit intangibles, a little bit. I know that Lillard's has been doing well since he came back from that ab injury. So I'm going to go with him as my guard at 9.3K.
Maddie, your guard is who and why?
So I like the Lillard call, but I actually think there is a guard who just broke some record that some people may care about that actually won't be that popular tonight. Jordan Poole is out tonight for the Warriors for COVID protocols, and Steph Curry has had a day off since that Knicks game where he broke the 3-point record, didn't play particularly well the rest of the game. Maybe he takes a few extra shots tonight with Poole not there. And then also the Celtics are missing Al Horford on the other side, and they're missing Grant Williams on the other side. So their defense may suffer tonight too. Maybe they have to play some smaller lineups, faster game, all of that. But I think Curry with the significantly higher price tag in a range where people are going to want to play Jokic, I think he makes sense to pay up for, and then we're just going to have so much value. It'll be pretty easy to fit him in. So I like Steph a lot.
Matt, who makes sense to pay up for and build around at forward?
So this won't be nearly as contrarian of a pick, but Chris Middleton is listed probable tonight. And with Giannis out, Middleton should be 8K or more. The thing is that Middleton missed the Bucks last game, and Drew Holiday was the one who got the price bump because he played so well in that game. Holiday's 7,900, but Middleton is still 6,700. So that's almost too cheap of a price tag for a matchup against the Pelicans where you just can't fade it. I think there are a lot of spots on this slate where you can try to get different and find some contrarian options. It's a big slate, but Middleton 6,700, game without Giannis, I think that's as close to a lock as anyone on tonight's slate.
Nick, how about you, man?
Absolutely. I'm with Matt on this one 100%. I mean, the only worry I have here is Milton going to be too chalky in this one just because 6.7K for him is a joke. I mean, I know he struggled in his last game before he sat out against the Pacers, but this is a much different situation, and they're not going to be rushing him back with that knee injury after they just took care of the Pacers, and now they're facing the worst team in the Pelicans. And when you look at Middleton, when Giannis has been off the floor this season, 3.5% usage rate, highest on the team. And when Portis is out as well, which is the case tonight, that bumps all the way up to 36.6% usage rate. So he's a no-brainer for your lineups tonight.
I mean, is Jokic here at center a no-brainer as well? I feel like, every day when he is on the slate, he is active. Everyone's like, you essentially have to pay up for him because he just produces on such a consistent basis, Nick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Emerson. And he is. At first, I was like, I'm not thinking Jokic tonight. I like Steven Adams in the situation against Sacramento because obviously they're hurting in terms of numbers but also in terms of size. And then Demarcus Cousins, another guy who should see a little bit of a bump. I know when it comes to the scenario that he's in with no Portis and no Giannis, he does well in terms of usage. I think it goes to 25%. But yeah, you got to get Jokic tonight. This is definitely a night where there's a ton of value, and you can still go and have a Jokic with a Lillard, and even still have Middleton in your lineup and be in a good spot. Steph does, I would think, make it a little bit tougher to have them both, but still definitely doable because there's a ton of value to be had tonight. And then with Jokic too, he's in a good spot for him to outperform his numbers because the Hawks have given up the 6th most DK fantasy points to opposing centers this season. So yeah, you got to go with Jokic tonight.
I mean, Matt, how difficult will it make to construct the rest of your roster if you're throwing $12,000 towards this guy tonight?
Well, as of now, it seems like it'll be kind of hard. But again, we're going to get so much news by the time lock rolls around that it's going to get much, much easier. So for that reason, I think for cash games, you just play Jokic. For GPPs, I think he could be a little too popular, and there are just going to be so many center choices that go overlooked. Nick mentioned one of them, Demarcus Cousins, is cheap, but I think in that mid-range, there's a couple guys that people aren't going to play because stars and scrubs is just going to be so easy to do tonight. So the one guy I like is actually the other side of this Bucks game we already talked about. Jonas Valanciunas is tonight he's getting a matchup where there's no Giannis to protect the rim, who is basically the Bucks center with Brook Lopez already out. No Bobby Portis. He's going head-to-head with Demarcus Cousins, who I can't imagine is a very good defensive player at this point in his career. Jonas Valanciunas always has massive upside. I think this is a good matchup for him. And I also just think that not a lot of people are playing him because most lineups will probably take Jokic and then take a cheaper guy that just kind of fits better. So I like J-Val a lot tonight.
Matt, how much sense does it make to build around a value play tonight?
I think you're going to need a few because there's just going to be so many. But the one situation that we really need to monitor, and this game is not until 10 o'clock, is the Sacramento Kings. Tyrese Halliburton is still questionable, so we already know De'Aaron Fox is out, Alex Len is out, Rashawn Holmes is out. The Kings are very shorthanded. But if Halliburton sits, then Davion Mitchell is almost unfadable at 3,600. And then Buddy Hield gets super interesting at 5,100. So I'll give those two guys as the value to build around. If Halliburton is out, I mean, we could see both of them playing 40-plus minutes just because the team is so shorthanded. So I like both of those guys on Sacramento a lot, and that's just a team to keep an eye on throughout the day.
Okay, Nick, who would you consider building around in the value play department?
I think Buddy Hield is a great call at 5.1K. Even if Halliburton plays, I still think he's going to get a lot of opportunities tonight with De'Aaron Fox doubtful at this point, and of course, plenty of other guys out. I mentioned the centers, of course, Steven Adams in that game. He's in an advantageous position, and then Demarcus Cousins as well. You look at Jordan Nwora over in that Bucks game as well. I think he's a super saver at 3.3K. To me, though, another one that kind of could fly under the radar too is the Heat because they have no Jimmy Butler, no Bam Adebayo. Duncan Robinson at 4.7K played 39 minutes last game, turned great value, and he's going up against a Magic team that, however you want to look at Duncan Robinson as a shooting guard or a small forward, the Magic have not done well against either position this season from a fantasy perspective. They've given up the most DK fantasy points to shooting guards and the 7th most to opposing small forwards this season.
All right, before you guys take off, let's do Slate Approved Pick. Let's go to the DraftKings Sportsbook. Give me your favorite bet on tonight's slate. Nick.
This is Grizzlies minus 5.5. I got it at minus 5 on the best bets article for DK Playbook today. I was stunned to see the number this low. I mean, I see the Spurs Jazz game. I think it was at 11.5. I last checked. And then the Grizzlies, who have been a cover machine, going up against the Kings that have no De'Aaron Fox, possibly no Tyrese Halliburton. Or say De'Aaron Fox is doubtful. More than likely, he's not playing. And then the Kings. I mean, they're one of the least efficient teams on the defensive end this season. They're 13-16 against the spread. And then you look at what the Grizzlies have been doing lately. I mean, on top of the Kings issues, the Grizzlies are a cover machine, 18-11 so far this season. So yeah, Grizzlies minus 5.5. I mean, I'd do this at a little bit higher number, but you don't need to worry about that right now.
Maddie, bring us home.
Okay, I'm going with the homer pick again, like I do probably once a week with the Boston Celtics, where I just think the Warriors in the midst of this East Coast trip are not in a great position to play at 100% just because I think there's fatigue that's building up. They played a close game in Philly, and then Indiana, and then New York, and now they're in Boston. And without Jordan Poole, Curry's going to be asked to do more. I think his shot volume will be higher. I don't know that his efficiency will look that great. It does bother me that Al Horford's not there, but the Celtics are pretty healthy for this game, barring any new COVID protocol news. They have all their key guys back besides Horford, with Tatum and Brown and Smart. Josh Richardson, Robert Williams is there. So I like the Celtics to cover. I think that it's pretty close to 50-50 that they win the game outright. And then just to tease tomorrow, I don't think Steph Curry's playing against the Raptors after this one. So you can do with that what you will for tomorrow once those betting lines come out.